regular city council meeting for Tuesday, May 18th. It is 9 o'clock, and I ask Director Alamo to please lead us in the flag salute. Director Alamo.
Please place your hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with justice for all.
Thank you very much, Director Alamo. City Clerk, can you please take the roll?
Mayor Ibarra,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Davis,
Yes.
Councilmember Menke. Here. Councilmember Gonzalez.
Here.
Councilmember Lopez.
Present.
You have a quorum.
City Clerk, do we have any changes to the agenda?
There are none.
May I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
Motion by Member Menke, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Davis to approve the agenda. I'll call the roll. Mayor Ibarra,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Davis,
Yes.
Councilmember Menke,
Yes.
Councilmember Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilmember Lopez.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Now we'll take public comment from the members of the audience. If you'd like to provide a public comment through Zoom, please click the raised hand button. At this time, the public is encouraged to address the city council on any matter that is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the city council. The public will also be given a chance to comment on matters which are on the posted agenda during city council deliberations on those specific matters. If there's any public comment at this time? Are there any public comments on Zoom?
I do not see any hands raised. I did receive an email to the public comment group from Norm Geiser, and it reads, Dales Transport Inc., located at 3180 Bandini Boulevard, is very much against the proposal for the city of Vernon to provide exclusive commercial franchise for trash disposal. Having choice via competition among multiple entities vying for business ensures that there will not be a monopoly that can cause degradation of service and price gouging. Dales Transport strongly recommends that competition for all services be maintained within the city. Let the free market operate as intended. Keep government bureaucracy and potential corruption out of the private industry. This is the best way to ensure the highest quality of service to the businesses operating in Vernon. Norm Geiser, Dales Transport and Wash.
Thank you. Are there any more public comment? We'll now go on to presentations. City Clerk, agenda item number 1, Human Resources. Director Earl to present this item.
Good morning, Mayor and members of the City Council. During the month of April, we had 6 individuals achieve service milestones with the city. And I believe we have 2 that are going to be recognized this morning, or that are present to be recognized this morning. First off, we'd like to recognize Councilmember Leticia Lopez for her 5 years of service. Councilmember Lopez was first elected to the City Council on April 19th of 2016. So please join me in congratulating Leticia Lopez on 5 years of service to the city. I think the mayor has your pin for you. Next, we have Jesse Blue, who's being recognized for 10 years of service, and Jesse is participating or present here through Zoom. Jesse was hired as a systems coordinator 1 in the Public Utilities Department on April 25th, 2011, and currently serves as an electric operator, a position he's held since December 6th of 2016. Please join me in congratulating Jesse Blue on 10 years of service to the city. And that's all we have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let's go on to item number 2, Finance Director Williams to present this item. The fiscal year 2021-2022 budget study session continued from May 4th.
Well, good morning, Honorable Mayor, honorable members of the City Council. Thank you for the opportunity to present for the council's consideration this final installment of our budget workshop for fiscal year 2021-22 operating and capital budgets. This morning, we have just a few summary slides from the previous workshop presentations. And the purpose of this morning's presentation is to recap, summarize, and answer any questions that the council may have. And we have our detailed binders that we can get into any questions as needed. So we discussed last time the purpose of the annual budget, and we mentioned that this is a strategic document. It serves as a framework and a guide for all of our operating activities in the city. And of course, within that is the near-term, midterm, and long-term objectives and challenges. And that's really what this document provides for. So in the short term, of course, we have the continued management of uncertainty, and we've made excellent progress with the state of emergency and hopefully winding it down later this calendar year. Looking long-term, it is always the goal and the strategic design that we would have long-term financial stability, and that's what we mean by fiscal accountability and sustainability, the going concern of the city. And then, of course, looking inward with operational efficiency. That just goes without saying for us as staff. And the budget upholds these strategic plans. In terms of highlights, we mentioned the critical nature of a structurally balanced budget. And by that, we mean ongoing and continuous revenues. And this is for both the general fund and as governmental funds, as well as the utilities, that ongoing and continuous revenues match off against ongoing and continuous expenditures. And this is the primary driver for what we just discussed on the previous slide of fiscal sustainability. This is what provides for ongoing financial stability, as well as the building of reserves. And that last element is critical to both. It is notable in this budget that the operating expenditures were largely consistent with the previous fiscal year, and that means that there was really no unnecessary increases built into this. We mentioned there is the exemption of pension costs, and this was part of our discussion of long-term strategic plans that we will be bringing forward with some recommendations to address these. This budget provides for the continued and wrapping up of the COVID-19 state of emergency. And the stability within the city has enabled the responsive activity. It enabled the city to move quickly under the direction of the city administrator, and just the excellent progress that has occurred over the last year. And finally, the transition to fire. This is a very significant element of this budget because we just cut over last October. And this has, of course, had a very positive fiscal impact to the general fund. We have a summary of all the slides we looked at last time. So in the on the left-hand side, you have the governmental funds, the general fund, and you have the current year budget, which we are on track, and everything is going as expected with the current fiscal year that will be wrapping up at the end of next month. And what is being presented is the proposed fiscal year 2020, that should read 21-22 proposed budget. And you notice the primary, there's three elements of changes that you see. So the one is the decrease in salaries and benefits, and then the increase in supplies. and that is represented by the fire contract. The benefits, that's where you see the pension costs that we discussed. And then capital is represented by one major project primarily, and that is grant funded. On the VPU side, this is largely a flat budget overall, and the increase in capital is funded by bond funds. So those are being spent as expected. In conclusion, this document being presented to the council is balanced and a responsible budget. There's no unnecessary expenditures built into it, and that's what gives us a flat overall, consistent with the last fiscal year. And this budget, probably most importantly, provides for the city to continue its high level of service delivery to our business and residential communities. And it does provide for the continued response to the state of emergency. So in terms of a sequence of events, next meeting, we will have a public hearing and present the GAN limit, appropriations limit, as well as the class and comp resolution, as well as benefits. And then the budget will go into effect next fiscal year, which begins 7/1. So that concludes our presentation, and we are available for any questions or comments or direction from the council.
Thank you, Director Williams. Is there any questions or comments from the council at this time? Are there any public comments on the item number 2? Are there any hand raised in the? Okay, at this time, it's just a presentation, so we'll move on to the consent calendar. We'll now go to the consent calendar. All matters listed on the consent calendar are to be approved with one motion. Items may be removed from the consent calendar by any member of the council. Those items removed will be considered immediately after the consent calendar. Does council wish to pull any items from the consent calendar? I'd like to pull number 8. Anyone else? Are there any public comments for the consent calendar? May I have a motion for consent calendar number 3 to 9?
So move. I'll second.
City Clerk?
Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Davis, seconded by Councilmember Lopez to approve the consent calendar with the exception of item number 8. Mayor Ibarra,
Yes.
sorry, Mayor Pro Tem Davis,
Yes.
Councilmember Menke,
Yes.
Councilmember Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilmember Lopez.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. We'll go on to item number 8. City Clerk, recall petition, acceptance and call of special election.
Would you like a report or do you want me to respond to any questions?
No, report's fine, and then we'll go from there.
On February 16th, 2011, recall proponents served notice of intention to circulate recall petitions for Councilmember William Davis and Melissa Ibarra. The petitions were filed with the city clerk on April 22nd. The signatures were verified, and before you is the certificate of sufficiency on the petitions to recall Councilmember Davis and Ibarra. Also a resolution calling an election for September 14th. And a resolution requesting the County Board of Supervisors provide services for that election. The council is obligated to receive this sufficiency of the petitions, and then within 14 days of that, call an election to be held not less than 88 days and not more than 125 days from that time.
Thank you. I'd just like to make a comment on this. It's unfortunate that this item's on the agenda for approval today, and it's based on lies and no merit. This is a revenge recall to destroy the good governance work and good names that Vernon has worked hard to rebuild. It's also unfortunate to hear and confirm that many residents that were misled and pressured into signing these petitions. Nonetheless, the petition was brought forth, and I'll move to approve the September election. May I get a second?
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Motion by Mayor Ibarra, seconded by Councilmember Lopez to receive the certificates of sufficiency, adopt resolution number 2021-10, calling and giving notice of an all-mail ballot special municipal election to be held on Tuesday, September 14th, 2021, for the submission of the question of the recall of William Davis and Melissa Ibarra and the election of 2 city council members to fill the vacancy if the recalls prevail. And adopt resolution number 2021-11, requesting the Board of Supervisors of the County of Los Angeles to render specified services to the city relating to the conduct of a special municipal election to be held on Tuesday, September 14th, 2021. Mayor Ibarra,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Davis,
Yes.
Councilmember Menke,
Yes.
Councilmember Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilmember Lopez.
Prior to casting my vote, can I make a comment? Based on my conversations with multiple residents, particularly at the Vernon Village Apartments, these signatures were obtained on false pretenses. However, I will vote yes as the signatures were obtained. So my vote is a yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, City Clerk. Now we'll go on to item number 11, City Council outside appointments to outside agencies. City Clerk.
Following the April 2021 general municipal election and city council reorganization, the council has the opportunity to confirm or review its appointments to outside agencies. The council serves on several outside agencies, which are listed in the report, some of which are automatically appointed to the mayor, some are council representatives. So we should go through each board and determine whether you want to affirm the existing appointments or select new appointees.
Does anybody want to be removed by any of the boards that are on this list? Or does anybody want to change?
Okay.
At this time, I'm going to ask for someone to move. May I get a motion to approve number 11?
I'll move.
I'll second.
City Clerk.
So motion by Councilmember Lopez, seconded by Councilmember Gonzalez to affirm the existing appointments to the California Contract Cities Association, Central Basin Water Association, County Sanitation District 1, County Sanitation District 2, Gateway Cities Council of Governments, Independent Cities Association, Independent Cities Finance Authority, Southern California Association of Governments, and Vernon Solid Waste Hearing Panel. Mayor Lopez,
Yeah.
sorry,
Oh.
sorry, Mayor Ibarra.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Davis.
Yes.
Councilmember Menke.
Yes.
Councilmember Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilmember Lopez.
Yes.
Motion carries.
That's all right. Last year, you took about a month and a half to get used to it. We'll go on to number 12, item number 12, General Utilities General Manager Lemieux to present the report, professional services agreement with Port Canaveral Power Consultants for technical consulting services regarding electrical generation. Director Alamo.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, the Honorable Mayor and City Council. Vernon Public Utilities requires the service of a technical consultant that can assess and address technical aspects of electrical generation matters affecting the utility. As VPU continues to evaluate the improvements to its operation, infrastructure, and cost. As mentioned at the May 4th City Council meeting, VPU is considering the installation of and operation of a combustion turbine either indoors or outdoors in the northwest corner of Station A, which is the power plant. The installation of a combustion turbine or other alternative is necessary as the two peaking combustion units are currently at Station A are nearing their end of life, useful life. Moreover, VPU requires expert technical advice in order to identify, understand, and evaluate issues regarding the Marlborough Generation Station, billing, contractual obligations, operation and maintenance, associated costs, and options related to the power plant. The staff is currently exploring the potential purchase of MGS and will require the technical support of Port Canaveral Power Consulting, Inc. as it moves forward in the acquisition process. Port Canaveral has over 4 years of technical consulting experience on various aspects of electrical generation and possesses a variety of knowledge and related to MGS through the operation and maintenance of MGS since 2008. For the proposed agreement, Port Canaveral would support in the studies with outside legal firms, bond counsel, and various original equipment manufacturers. In addition, the consultant will provide technical support in the interface with owner representatives of MGS and technical experience and assistance in analyzing purchases and procurement of equipment or material related to the generation of electricity, including review and development of the site plan. They will also assist with project development and coordination related to electrical generation, environmental consulting, and compliance, studies, permitting, data collection, analysis, and reporting. The proposed agreement is exempt from competitive bidding pursuant to section 2.17.12A, subsection 10 of the Vernon Municipal Code, and can be exempt from competitive selection pursuant to 2.17.12B, subsection 2 of the Vernon Municipal Code, if a direct award is found to be in the best interest of the city. The staff recommends that the City Council approve the service agreement with Port Canaveral pursuant to Vernon Municipal Code, section 2.17.2.12B, section 3, as the best interest of the city are served by a direct award based on the consultant demonstrated technical expertise in electrical generation, and more specifically, their unparalleled technical knowledge and familiarity with the MBGS infrastructure, which is since 2005, I believe. A direct award to the consultant would also result in a significant cost savings to the city, as any other consultant would require substantial amount of billable time in order to review and study the specifics of MBGS. The proposed service agreement has been reviewed and approved as to form by the city attorney's office. The fiscal impact of this award will be $260,000 per year for 3 years, not to exceed amount of $786,000 over the 3-year period. The current VPU budget has been adjusted to reflect for this year's expenditures, and also the upcoming fiscal year budget. The amounts have been included in the upcoming fiscal year budget. Service will be billed monthly based on a number of actual work. This concludes my presentation. I can accept any questions.
Thank you, Director Alamu. Does council have any technical questions for staff at this time?
I have one.
Can you put the mic
Right
closer?
now, how are we working with these people? Is it month to month that we're gonna go out and extend the contract for 3 more years?
Yeah, they have a contract today. And so before we're bringing this back to
But prior
council,
to this, we're doing month to month, or did they have a prior contract to
they
this?
have a prior contract.
They do.
Councilmember Gonzalez, can you bring your mic closer so we can hear?
Sorry.
Sorry.
Okay, my concern is just that they've been here working with us since 2008, which is from the old regime that we had here that wasn't a good government. So I'm concerned if we should continue, or can we go month to month until something comes up? These people are from Florida? We
Yes.
couldn't find anybody closer here in California?
Yeah, the principal of this organization was involved in the actual construction of the power plant, and they know the in and out of the power plant, including when the plant was sold to Bison in 2008, they were part of that team.
Correct.
So because of their intimate knowledge, and so that's one aspect of it. But also what we're also trying to do is replace the existing Gonzales units, the old units that are at the power plant. We're planning to replace those. That's one of the projects they will be involved in. So they have the engineering, the generation knowledge about putting together power plants. So we thought this entity will be best suited to help us navigate through that at least through the construction of a new power plant, which we're planning to undertake soon. So that's the knowledge base, and also their intimate knowledge of MHS will help us deal with the MHS purchase negotiations, as well as reviewing invoices and witnessing or giving testimony as to the condition of the plant to any possible consultant that's going to help us through the purchase of the through the transactions for MHS. So this is just the unique knowledge and experience they have. That's what we sought for. But it's up to council, how we want to proceed.
Can I ask a question piggybacking off of what she just asked? If we were to go out to bid, what would the cost range be compared? If you were to go out to a different agency, if we go out to bid, you're saying, you had mentioned that we'd be paying a lot. What would that cost be more or less?
My experience is this kind of services will be about the same. It's not going to be much different. These are technical, they are specialized, technical services, power generation, and also negotiation of contracts that are unique in the industry. But specifically, the power construction and power generation aspect of the business is a very technical area. So I don't know, we can find someone who will match the experience and the knowledge of this entity, but the fees will be comparable, I believe.
Because wouldn't we want somebody here in California instead of Florida? I mean,
Councilmember
here.
Gonzalez, that has nothing to do with it. We're talking about the knowledge and the base that this person has, that we can't just bring anybody in that would be able to understand our system. So what we're saying is that they have a unique knowledge to our electrical generation plant, and that's the value that this individual or the entity brings to Vernon.
I don't know, I just feel it's a lot of money for the 3 years.
Are there any further questions from council? Sure.
How many people are employed by Fort Canaveral Power Consultants?
My interface has been with the principal, one person. I don't know if anybody's employed by that person. I have no knowledge.
So you're going to pay $750,000 per year and airfare and rental car to one person. Now, experience and knowledge are one thing. I mean, there's something to be said for that, but you can't be the only person in the world that has this experience and knowledge. Best practices will tell us that fresh eyes can sometimes lend new insights, and I'm against this.
The total cost per year is $240,000, not $750,000.
$750,000 over 2 years,
Over
3 years.
that would be 3 years.
3 years.
so $250,000 per year.
Correct.
Are there any further questions from council? Now I'll open up to public comment. Are there any public comments on this item? Are there any hands raised? Are there any further questions from council at this time? Okay, at this time, may I get a motion? No, I do have a question. Sorry, it just popped in my hand. Before this gets moved or it gets declined, is there any way that we can see a competitive bid just to be 100% sure that this is either a go or not? I would like, okay, I'll make that a motion then. I'll make that a motion, I'm sorry, to, I'd like it to come back to see what we can do on a bid and compare apples to apples, because I believe that's what the concern is that I'm hearing from council. And since nobody is speaking up about it, I think that's what I.
So if council agrees, then we can just continue on a month-to-month until we go ahead and do an RFP and do a competitive bid process for the services.
Council?
Yes,
I'd like feedback from, if that's okay.
yes.
I'm sorry. Would it be possible for the council members to remove their masks since you do have glass in between and pull the microphone as close to you as possible? I'm getting word that people can't hear in the World Wide Web. So thank you.
Thank you.
Since we would be doing that month, I'd like to see a time limit placed on the RFP. When at least it would go out to bid.
Maybe get a suggestion? We need to work both ways.
I mean, you're looking at a minimum 3 months to do an RFP process. So we'd have to develop the RFP, send it out and get it bid on.
So we develop a
It's not on. Mm-mm.
Yes. Oh, no.
Sorry, to be developed and completed within 4 months, would that work?
Yes, we can get that done.
That's a motion. That was my motion, so
I'll
do I get a
second.
second?
Second.
I have a question.
Okay, go
Is
ahead.
Peter Herbers is still the president on this?
Yes,
He's the only employee is what you just told us, right?
to my knowledge.
Yes.
Okay.
Motion by Mayor Ibarra, seconded by Councilmember Gonzalez to continue on a month-to-month basis for 3 months until the RFP and competitive bid is awarded or issued. Mayor Ibarra?
Wait, I thought it was 4 months.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was working with microphones. 4 months?
4 months is
Four
fine.
Sorry, 4 months.
4
Thank
months.
you.
That's the recommendation. Yes.
Month to month for 4 months. Mayor Pro Tem Davis?
Yes.
Councilmember Menke?
Yes.
Councilmember Gonzalez?
Yes.
Councilmember Lopez?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Great, thank you. Thank you for your patience. We'll now go on to item number 13, Public Utilities General Manager Alamu to present the report. Professional service agreement with Bell Burnett and Associates, BBA, and financial advisor service in connection with the potential purchase of the Malberg Generation Station MGS.
To begin, Honorable Mayor and Council. Yes, this is the second of the projects the city and the department are embarking on. The purchase of, a potential purchase of the Malberg generating plant. In an effort to reduce the burden of the power purchase and tolling agreement, which we call PPTA with Bison, on VPU's operating cost and electric rates, staff is currently exploring the potential purchase of MGS. The capacity and energy payments under the tolling agreement, our agreement, represent a significant portion of VPU's operating cost, totaling 48 million in fiscal year 2020. To put it in perspective, this is like a quarter of our operating cost, power-related operating costs. So it's a heavy burden, in terms of, how much, this is costing. So we're trying to, every, angle, every which way we can reduce cost. And this is one of the areas we think we can reduce operating costs. By purchasing MGS, the city may gain significant operational benefits, control of the site, and reduce financial costs, possibly $20 and $40 million in cash flow savings through 2028. In connection with said acquisition, the city requires the service of a financial advisor to provide advice and assistance in negotiating, structuring, and executing a potential transaction. BB&A, which is the consultant, Bell Burnett and Associates, is a management and strategic consulting firm with over 7 years of experience serving the utility industry. BB&A's team have significant experience in the development and delivery of large-scale, complex capital projects utilizing a variety of financial strategies, including alternative and strategy analysis, cash flow modeling and management, contract and document negotiation, and project financing and delivery. For the proposed agreement, BB&A's financial and advisory services would include advice regarding the approach to the transaction, financial analysis and modeling, and assist with negotiation support for the transaction. In addition, BB&A will advise the city of general information as to development concerning the capital market, and municipal utility industry, as well as provide advice on the purchase and sale agreements and other transaction documents. The proposed agreement is exempt from competitive bidding and competitive selection pursuant to Vernon Municipal Code Section 2.17.12, subsection A2, which is contract for unique services, and A3, which is contract for the acquisition of real property or related to the acquisition of the same, namely MGS. The proposed service agreement has been reviewed and approved as to form by the city attorney's office. Fiscal impact. Fiscal impact is a little bit, probably I just need to give a little bit a breakdown to simplify it a little bit. There are two main components to the fee structure. One of them is retainer fee. The retainer fee is budgeted at $20,000 a month for up to 9 months, which is a maximum of $180,000. That is, what they will be billing as they work on all the transaction documents, advise the city, and as we work with them, to come up with an agree to value, which the city is comfortable, to move forward with. If the transaction is a go, then we'll move on to the next phase of actual restructuring of an agreement, the sale transaction with the owner, and financing of the transaction. At that point, and if the transaction is successful, they will get the success fee. Only if the transaction is consummated. Only if there is a transaction, they will get a success fee. The success fee has some kind of tier. The lower the sale price, the higher the success fee they get. So they have an incentive to have the sale price as low as possible, because they get the success fee, more success fee at the lower level. As the purchase price goes up, the success fee goes down. So we are leaving the burden onto them to find us a very attractive price for make a recommendation for attractive price. So that would be that's only paid after a successful transaction is consummated, and that I believe will be paid from the bond proceeds once a bond issued, and we don't have to use our current cash. So that will be the structure of the fee. So that concludes my presentation, but we do have Marcy Edwards joining us. I believe she wants to say to add a couple of I don't know, do you want to add some to the discussion, Marcy?
Yes, I would. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Good morning, Mayor, City Council. Thank you for allowing me to be here today. As you've heard, talking about Malberg Generating Station. By way of brief background, I've been in the utility industry for over 40 years at this point. I was the former general manager of Los Angeles Department of Water and Power, and the first woman in that job, interestingly enough. I was the chair of the Southern California Public Power Association, chair of the American Public Power Association, and I actually did a stint at the California Independent System Operator as their interim general manager. So I've been around in this area locally in the Western region for quite some time. In heading DWP, I saw everything from customer relations management to power resource management. So I have a real good perspective about how utilities think about optimizing their assets and their power resource portfolio. Okay, you heard that we're here to talk about Malberg, and you also heard we spend $48 million a year under the existing agreement. Payments are going to run through 2028 with as much as $370 million in payments between 2022 and 2028. And we think there's an opportunity to reduce those payments, potentially between $20 and $40 million. And that would 100% accrue to the benefit of the utility and its customers. It's also worth highlighting that purchasing the facility gives you control over it. Not only can you manage maintenance projects more effectively, but you also can utilize the unit in the market solely for the benefit of Vernon. So having that ability to control the plant is very important. And notwithstanding the strategic benefits, we only think you should pursue this if there's demonstrated and quantifiable benefit. You know, the city's thought about, considered buying the plant in the past, I think it was 2017. And there's no guarantee, of course, we'll be successful, but there are certainly reasons to be optimistic. And were I on your side of the table, I would say, whoa, what's changed between, you know, when we bought it, when we thought about buying it again, and now? Okay. In particular, the market is incredibly favorable to the city right now. We also believe we have a willing seller, and we should be able to finance any acquisition under 3%. And those dynamics are what create the opportunity to generate meaningful savings. It's also important to highlight timing. We want to capture the current favorable market. We want to acquire the facility generally as soon as possible, but certainly by the end of the year. Want to get a transaction done while we know we can generate savings. Well, why we are here today in front of you is to formally ask you engage us to start negotiations, begin taking all the steps necessary to see if we can make this work. We'll certainly be back to the council as the transaction unfolds so that council knows how we are doing and authorizes any additional steps. One final comment on my part, and then I'm happy to take questions, is you heard the structure of the fees. We are working month to month, and the city has the ability to terminate the contract if they don't see us bringing it to closure from a retainer basis. And I think it's capped at 180. As I said, we'd like to get a deal done by the end of the year, as soon as possible, to be able to capture the savings in the market. The other thing you heard talked about was the success fee. We structured this deal in this way so that we were the ones that were accepting the risk, basically, of non-performance. So the majority of the gain to us is in the success fee. Now, the market standard for success fees are 1% to 5%. Ours are structured, I think, at a 0.25% to 1.25%. And the higher the purchase price, the less money we get. So it's structured in a way to both protect the city as well as incentivize us to do the best job possible in this kind of a complex negotiation. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
So that will be the end of our presentation. We open for any questions you may have.
Are there any questions from council at this time on this item? No. I do have a really quick question on that $20,000 retainer. Is it 20,000 capped at 20,000 a month, and it doesn't matter how many hours and how much time she spends? Or is it just 20,000, whatever falls in between, and is there a rollover?
No, it's capped.
It's
It's capped and there's no roll. Yeah, it's simply 25,000 regardless of the, or 20,000, excuse me, regardless of the hours invested.
And the success fee is based off of a 0.25%. If you get, if you sell it, if we get it back at a low cost or a high
1/4
cost?
to 1.25.
So
So
meaning if
the
you
lower,
can buy
the
it-
lower the price we get you, the higher percentage we get. But if it costs you more and the savings deteriorate, our share deteriorates as well.
And what's the cost of the power plant if we were to buy it? Say, right now, the deal is, what is it? I just want to understand. the math.
The seller quotes it as 220 to 260 million dollars. We think we could hopefully get it for under the bottom range. I hesitate to put a number out there because it's a public meeting and this is a strategy negotiation. So if possible, what we're actually shooting for, I'd like to keep private, but that's where we think we can generate the savings, is under that bottom number.
Are there any further questions from council at this time?
Based on your experience in the past, typically, how long does a deal like this take?
Yeah, and that's a very good question. The fact that the seller is willing and interested is a really good sign for a shorter duration negotiation. And the fact the market's slow. We are incentivized to hurry up because we don't want the market to turn against us. So we hope on the outside to have a deal by the end of the year, but I'm very hopeful we'll have it earlier than that.
May I ask another question? Since this deals with real estate, why wasn't this put in closed session?
It's not the acquisition of real estate, it's actually the asset of the power plant. So this contract here, we wanted to do it in a public setting.
Are there any further questions from council? Okay, may I get a motion to approve item number 13?
So moved. I'll
Second.
second.
Motion by Councilmember Menke, seconded by Councilmember Lopez, to approve and authorize city administrator to execute a professional services agreement with Bell Burnett and Associates effective May 18, 2021, to provide financial advisory services in connection with the potential acquisition of MGS. Mayor Ibarra,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Davis,
Yes.
Councilmember Menke.
Yes.
Councilmember Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilmember Lopez.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Great, thank you. Now we'll go on to oral
Thank you.
reports. Administrator Fandina.
The LA County remains in orange tier status and it's at minimal risk. The Health Department is monitoring the latest orders and directives from the CDC and LA County and will ensure that the city is adhering to the appropriate guidelines. As of May 17th, LA County Public Health has ordered that masking requirements remain unchanged until the June 15th date. Vernon is hosting e-waste event. Vernon's annual e-waste event is planned for this Thursday, May 20th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Fruitland Fire Station. Computers, computer equipment, electronics like TVs and appliances and media devices are acceptable materials for drop-off. This is an important event to help make sure that these items remain out of landfills. Commissions and committee opportunities. As a reminder, applications are being accepted from the May 20th to 2021 for the Green Vernon Commission, the Vernon Community Fund Grant Committee, and the Vernon Housing Commission. Upcoming meetings, May 19th at 10 a.m. Vernon Community Fund Grant Committee meeting is scheduled. And then with